What's good, world? It's your boy Maverick the Ghost in the building. I am here with Jonathan from the beautiful Red Rican. First, where did the name Red Rican come from?
Well, as you know, Puerto Ricans, we come in all shades and colors, but growing up, I always had like bright reddish hair. It's darkened up a little over the years, but my family would always call me Colorado. So Colorado in Spanish means red. And originally I was going to call my business El Colorado, but when you spell it out, it spells out Colorado. So I thought people would see it probably like El Colorado, and it just sounded, playing football,
Right.
Red was my nickname.
Okay.
So, that's where the name Red came, and Red Rican, it just flows a lot better than El Colorado.
Right. So what gave you the idea to open up a restaurant like this?
Growing up, grew up in South Bronx, New York, moved to Youngstown, been in the family business, my whole life. My dad taught us how to cook. My mom taught us how to cook. They did more traditional style, but just over the years, I wanted to try new dishes and different styles and
Right.
different type of fusion. And just one day, I'm like, you know what, man, I think it'll be cool to start a food truck. I started with a little trailer, little 14-foot, through my dad's business, and I seen the potential it had. And when I, had the money and I was ready to start doing my own thing, we opened up the Red Rican.
Wow. So what do you think it takes to what drives you to keep doing this?
I mean, dude, it's just a passion, man. It's like I love my culture, I love my people, I love our music. I just, family oriented, and it's just always been in me, man, to just share, how I like my food is almost like an extension of me, of my family. It's like dishes that you eat certain dishes, and I get certain smells, and it reminds me of my mom cooking in the kitchen,
Right.
or making our adobo burgers. And it's just something I've always had a passion for, and being able to share with people and certain different communities that we've been in. It's been great to do, man.
Well, I've been hearing a lot. I think you guys is like number one out here. Like everybody
Yeah,
know you guys'
yeah.
name already.
Now the name is popular, man. I mean, you can't really ask for really a doper name. Red Rican, man, that's like a superhero, man.
Right.
I feel like I should be out here in the Cape slanging pastelillos in the neighborhood.
What's your favorite thing to make? What's your favorite dish?
I mean, hands down, it's got to be the pastelillos, man. That's like the Puerto Rican hot pocket, man.
Right.
It's just simple. It's classic. It's handheld. It's people grew up eating them in their house in the kitchen with some oil in the pan. And, back in the day, my mom would just throw some cheese in a Goya disc and fry them right there in the little fryer. You come home after school, and but over the years, we've built up our dishes to just get better and better and better, and started doing our own dough, which I showed you a little bit earlier, and it's progressed into what our menu is now, man. So we're proud of that.
So it's like everything made from scratch.
Everything's made from scratch. We make our own sofrito, our spices, all our sauces.
Wait a minute, you said the spices.
Spices, man. We got our own blended spices that we do. Or,
What the?
we use certain things, but we order our own stuff and mash them up and make our own spices for certain dishes. So we're everything, man. I'm telling you. We joked around. I said, if I could hand bend these cans of soda myself,
Right.
I'd hand bend them. But we take pride in not selling frozen food, and not just buying stuff from Sam's Club or distributors and selling it. Like, we want to make everything here like home cooking.
Right. So what's the best dish to order?
So it's like I tell everybody who's coming here for the first time, is we've made our name off of really 4 dishes, which is our loaded Rican bowl, the pulled pork, the loaded chimney chicken bowl. We have the beef and cheese pastelillo combo, or the chicken and cheese.
Wow.
That right there is what gave us our name, established our business, and why we have our first storefront. And as you've been here, we've been working on this interview. You've seen how many bookings and people calling, and it's a blessing, man. I'm humbled, and I'm glad everything's been going the way I seen it when I first started.
It's like it's not a dream no more. It's out here.
It's manifesting, man. You if you believe in it strongly enough, and we spoke with my brother a minute ago, and
Right.
we sacrificed and worked for free, and every dollar we made we reinvested, not because we were gambling. It was more because we knew what was coming.
Right.
So we knew we had to, hey, we grind it out, but give it a year and a half, we're gonna get to where we're gonna need to be at. And honestly, we're farther along and busier, and it's getting better than what we thought we'd be at this point.
Right.
Only a year and a half in our business.
Yeah, I was saying, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you guys was like more years in the game.
Yeah,
But
well, imagine my dad's been in the restaurant business over 30 years. So to get where my dad's at with his business took him 30 years plus, and we've been able to become more popular. People know our name better. Our rest, everything in a year and a half. It took him 30 years, but again, it's thanks to him,
right,
for basically laying the pavement for us to get to where we're at now. But I mean, it's like I said, man, it's been a blessing, man.
Man. So which one you like better? You like being in the food truck or you like being in the restaurant?
So they ask me that all the time. Now, me personally, I like the food truck. Mm-hmm. The food truck is a little more work as far as, like setting up and driving and, things like that. But traveling to all these different cities, whether we're in Austintown, Boardman, right, Canfield, Mineral Ridge, Hubbard, we've gone to Valant, PA, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, being able to bring the truck and share your food and the experience you bring when we're playing our music. And,
right,
we talked about a little bit earlier is what I love about the business, mm-hmm, is seeing where you guys from, man? I never heard of you guys. Giving that explanation as far as our story, where we came from, what we're serving. And every time we bring the truck out, hey, you might try it today in Austintown. Like, hey, man, I love the food. Right. Then you see our truck and board when you show up, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, where's this plate and this plate, man? We got a whole different menu today.
Right.
So it's every time you come, there's a different treatment at the Red Rican food truck.
Like when you first started with the truck, like what did you do to, like where was your first place that you stopped and said, I'm gonna stop right here and I'm gonna set up?
Well, our first event was actually at Penguin City. Great company. Aspasia and her partners and her husband, man, they do a great job down there. And actually, for their grand opening, they had booked us, and that was when I first started my truck. My engine blew, so I wasn't able to make it there. But come full circle, when they had their 1 year anniversary, that was my first event. Oh, so, sweet. But now we've been there. We're going to be there again this weekend, and Penguin City, and really Penguin City help us spread because they're such a popular brand in the community, and, and a staple here in Youngstown that, people seen us there, and then other breweries like, 1547, Birdfish, they got another great brewery, the Paladin, and even other places like the Crick in Newcastle. And so, when we started hitting all these breweries, then all the people who go there to drink, they own their own companies, right. So you got Banner Supplies and the Ultium Cells, right, and, Dubos Industry. And I mean, again, the one we just booked recently, I forget the name, but, and it's just been basically word of mouth. We barely do any advertising, and it's just one after the other. And then you get into what? Birthdays, weddings, catering events, graduation parties.
Catering. So you guys are doing the food truck. You're doing, like, I was sitting here listening to, like, all these phone calls, like, yeah, how the heck are you able to do all that?
Nobody can do anything on their own, man. Yes, the business is called Red Rican. Obviously, I started the business on my own, but without my older brother Carmelo, who's, basically my right arm, right. And then I got my younger brother Jeremy, and all of us together, man, it's like Voltron, bro. We come together, and as a team, of course, my parents help us, and they've guided us, to help us, along the way. But without my team, without my cousin Brian back there, one of our cooks, and I would never have gotten as far as I've gotten, as fast as I've gotten, without help. None of this has been just because of me, man. I can guarantee you that.
Right. So you would say to build a beautiful business, you have to have a team behind
You have to have a team, bro.
that believe in it is the same as you.
If somebody tells you, I mean, granted, there are always that special person, you know, but
Right.
if somebody's telling you they made something happen on their own, they're not telling you the truth, man.
Right.
There's always people behind that. You know, in my case, I give them their flowers, you know, and
Right.
I wouldn't have made it as far as I've made it. When I first opened up, you know, I had my kids helping me. My mom would come help me here and there. A couple of my friends after they got to work would come help me. But it wasn't until, you know, my brother quit his job. He was making over 100 grand a year, but he seen the potential in my business.
And he just quit.
And he just said, look, you make me a partner, give me 1 year, and I'll have your first sports storefront opened up. 9 months later, you have this place that we're sitting in right now. So if it wasn't for him, of course I would have been always, you know, I believe I would have been successful, but the growth and where we're heading now, if it wasn't for my brothers helping me and having my back, I would not be, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be doing this out of my food truck still.
So, like, do everybody got like a different position?
Yep. You know, I like to say I'm more of a cook. My brother's a chef.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my younger brother, he's probably the smartest one out of the three of us. So he handles all the back end.
Okay.
You know, all the important stuff that people don't get credit for. That's sort of like the how do you say, like in basketball, the guy who does the dirty work in the background. So, you know, my younger brother handles that. You know, my brother does all the, you know, recipes as far as the sauces and the plates and the combos and, you know, going out to food shows. And like he just came back from Miami on vacation with a whole new palette of ideas of things he wants to do based on the restaurants that he's gone out there. So now we're working on new items. And, you know, my gift has always been building the brand, building the business, you know, creating relationships, you know, like I said, booking the events, the merchandise, the just the overall aesthetic of what the Red Rican represents. That's what I've done, you know. So together, like I said, man, we all have our niche, and we finally are all three of us coming together, and we're making it happen, man.
That's sweet. So when it comes to like, the merch, where did the idea to start selling merch come from?
Realistically, I'm a shoe collector, which we talked about a little bit. So I used to get upset, you know, because I got a whole bunch of Jordan 1s, you know, and a big LeBron fan. So I'd always have a bunch of LeBron shoes, and I'd always get upset. I'm a big guy. So when I would go shopping, I'd be like, hey, man, I can never find a shirt my size that matches the shoes that I'm getting. So I've always had a passion for
I see now.
Yeah, you see now. I've always had a passion for creating my own, you know, T-shirts and stuff. So when I started my business, you know, like I mentioned, you go to like the flea market and you see the old school tables with the older little Puerto Rican ladies selling, you know, Puerto Rico shirts. And I'm like, man, that's so outdated.
Right.
Where can a new school, you know, person my age or even a little bit younger go and get some authentic, you know, of today's day Puerto Rican merch that, you know, suits today's time? And that's when I started working on, you know, the Manny Maduro shirts, the Tony Plantain, our merch shirts, and you know, hats. And so I've just always had a passion for it, man. It's only going to get better. This is all we've done right now, just with the little bit of time we've had since I've been more focused on the business part. But now that, you know, I got my brother, I got my team here, I'll be able to focus more on the merch and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But to give you a little rundown of my logo, so this lion is actually, if you go to El Morro, which is a castle in San Juan, you know how back in the day they always had flags playing, you know, on the castles representing their emblem. Well, this lion is on the emblem of the flag of Puerto Rico. But the lion also represents my father, who's a Leo, who taught me the business. You know, and you see our slogan up on the wall, God, family, business.
Right.
In that order, you know, in the Bible, or even like if you know, you look online, God a lot of times is represented as a lion, king of the jungle, you know, the power.
Right.
So that's where the lion comes from. Then you have the 3 stars on the top are me and my 2 brothers. When I originally did the logo, the 3 stars on the bottom are my 3 kids. The diamond represents my mother. It keeps the family together.
Okay.
And then the streak across the middle, that's actually the island of Puerto Rico. And the reason why it looks a little bit distressed was when I created this logo. That's when Puerto Rico went through that hurricane. And when I went to go visit, to do some charitable work, all the houses were like sort of run down and paint chipping. So the logo, man, it has a lot of meaning behind it, and so I'm really proud of this logo, man.
That's crazy. You got a lot of meaning behind that.
Well, now I got, instead of 3 kids, I got 5 now. So I'm gonna have to stick 2 stars in there somewhere, but we'll
on the new order.
Yeah, on the new order.
So what made you? We'll be right back.